playing is actually going to be the sound of the app.
Alright, so there should be pizza here.
So I have to-
And then we're gonna eat pizza. And then we're gonna start after we eat a little bit of pizza. But it should be here in 2 or 3 minutes. That's good.
I'm so hungry right now.
But I had to like splice the thing together. And so that's going to be playing.
That doesn't sound Kanye-ish.
That's on his new album.
Oh, excuse me. I didn't listen to The Life of Pablo yet.
But actually, I think
I've seen Narcos, though.
yeah, it's this one.
This computer is powerful. Well, it's not the most powerful laptop, but it's kind of taggy looking.
It looks like you're a gamer.
Yeah, but I mean, it's taggy looking. Does I mean the
Oh, you said
design?
it's tacky looking? Oh, I think it's tacky looking.
Nah.
Oh.
It looks like
Then why did you buy it if you didn't like it?
I'm not paying $3,000 for a Razer Blade Pro, but I really wanted.
3,000.
Yeah.
They're like 1,000.
Nah, not Razer Blade Pros. The thing about those is they're as thin as that and about, well, a little bit more powerful than this, you know. So
That's crazy.
yeah, but it's the thinness that like, yeah, but like it's the way it's engineered. Like it like disperses. Yeah, it disperses nicely. What?
I looked it up.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I don't like the colors. The logo is the only thing that really bothers me. So.
Really?
Yeah, because like it used to be that Macs were for like professionals, so like they had really high quality and stuff.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But lately, like the specs have come out, they could be much better than they are.
Yeah.
But they're like marketing.
I'm mad. All I want is MacBook Pro with some colors on it. That's all I need. I'm very simple. No, it's a normal MacBook. Because that's just normal MacBook. That's not the MacBook Pro.
Wait, there's a difference between MacBook and MacBook Pro.
Yes, the MacBook Pro is actually thinner than their MacBook Air, which remember was marketed as the thinnest notebook computer. It's garbage. I'm like, how am I supposed to work on this? I think we're also so
They changed up the charger for it.
Yeah.
USB, and it's like not even a good, like it's a whole different class of USB.
and you have to buy like an adapter in order to use multiple. It's terrible.
I don't want that.
I don't want that either.
Oh yeah, and then there's no headphone port either.
And there's no headphone port. So now you want me to invest $300 in some Bluetooth wireless. What do you think I am, Apple? What do you
It was
think I
good.
am?
This one was good.
I mean, I can, but I won't.
Keep us alive inside.
I'm
Sometimes.
gonna end up doing something like
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I've been getting to learn things for a while, but it's like,
Oh God, people heard me going on about that.
I don't think about it.
It says it's live.
Yeah,
Oh no, there's no viewers. Okay.
that's one you like one.
You're gonna be like, who's this little girl talking about MacBook Pros?
It's up on the panel. They all range. Some people that talk to what's it, dangerous? And I kind of want to say, I don't want to perceive it as dangerous.
Neither do I. I feel like it's just like
There's like 3 areas you just want to stay away from.
where I was living, you don't want to be at.
That's not even
It's that,
trailer.
but for me, it wasn't that bad.
But I mean,
I don't know. Tariq gave me a hard time. I was like, you're the one who made me move here. Like, what do you mean?
Maybe.
I was in a.
What's the garage?
Well, no, he pretty much was just like, yo, you're moving from where I was before because I was in a trap house situation. More.
it's like 2 months after she's been there. Yo, we need a security deposit.
I'm like, a security deposit I was like, a security deposit for what? I'm like,
Did you already give this security?
no.
They didn't mention it, but
They didn't mention it, but afterward they were like, we need a security deposit. I'm like, why am I paying a security deposit when I'm going to be here for 3 months? Like,
What are you doing here?
Yes. And over here we're going asking for you any questions.
oh, I didn't
You should be over there studying tonight.
As is important what you go.
Any questions about what? Ionic?
It's about Ionic.
Oh, about
I
this?
was like, because somebody came in, I was like, oh, you guys have Lena? You know, Lena, you got your question? Very cool.
I didn't know he was there.
Sometimes somebody would snitch on you.
I would have.
If that walked away on you.
So, question.
7.
No, there's gonna be like 2 people on there, if anything.
Okay, there's not. Okay, so how
No,
much
there's
was?
1 person there.
Okay, how much?
900.
Oh, really? That's it?
It goes for 13. Well, no, 1,200. But I got it for 9 because I found it on Craigslist brand new. I still got the box.
Just reinstalled your browser.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna build a PC.
That's the thing. I'm on the desktop. That's my problem. So you're a coder. You want to go mobile. But if you want to code at home, that's awesome.
I mean, why can't I have both?
Yeah, but I just know with me, my lifestyle, I want to be able to
I know what you mean, but just like I wouldn't want anything this big though. I'd want something that like I could fit in my
Razer Blade
purse.
Pro.
Like I could fit in my purse.
Yeah, that Razer Blade Pro.
I'm looking at it right now. It's kind of amazing.
Oh man.
Right.
Yes.
Oh no, don't do that because that's a trap.
Yeah,
You're gonna be like, I'll
value in
take
it. Like,
it.
after 1 year, you can't even all that.
I know. Nick keeps asking me. He's like, "When are you gonna buy a car?" I'm like, "When I have that, like, when I have a deposit on it." What you mean? Out here, and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
let me just finance 20 grand real quick." You know, I would have like. I mean,
Like 2,000. You probably won't even like. They probably only expect you to put 1 down, but like get the money down. And have like 6, 7 on that. You have to pay like some stupid fees, like
taxes.
document fees, and like type of stuff. But you'll have a lot of time to pay that off.
Yeah.
So like mine was like 600 and another 5 for I don't even remember what it was.
You were just like, "Woo!"
Yeah, I'm like,
No, I'm getting that Ford Edge. Yes. It's an SUV, but it's an amazing SUV.
nah, I like that shit.
It's so cute. My thing is that like I'm really specific about it.
Hey, can you hear me? Yes.
Okay, so there's cheese and
What
pepperoni.
about
I can hear you.
Hey, we haven't started yet. I'll notify you when you are, but we're about to eat food now, okay?
Wait, the connection is a little scratchy. Say that one more time.
We haven't started. We're about to eat food right now, though.
Okay. All right then, no problem.
All right.
My students like, why are you doing this?
No,
Oh, you keep calling her that because that was
that's the one
her
girl,
mentor,
Kevin, though.
right? You know, was her mentor. Oh, it's just a person that is trying to join. It just we're live streaming.
That's all it again with the wife.
Yes. No, I'm Marla.
I want pizza.
You can have some.
Oh my God, Chatham actually visiting you all?
You're talking about like
Them visit us.
services,
Oh.
like separate like large software. It was cool.
No, we didn't get a lot. We didn't get a lot of people. We didn't get half. No, we did get half one at the end, didn't we?
At that point, I think a lot of people want to go already.
Yeah, that was like a week after. We were like,
That's what really counts. Oh, hold on, I can do some more command
Like they do in the movies, like.
There's too many laptops that drop from counters. Wow.
yeah, let's push this back a little more then. Because it only takes one bump.
Yeah, that story. Like people used to walk in Geek Squad talking about like, yo, my laptop screen broke. I'm like, Like, how long it takes to do that in the store, and then if I can't do it, we gotta send it out to a warehouse. Like, pain in the ass.
I gotta give props to Apple though. When I went into the store for my cracked screen, I was just like, "Here, fix it," and they did it in an hour. Replaced it in an hour. They replaced the screen. Oh, sorry.
Apple knows to do everything. Actually,
Replace anything. It's like a brand new computer.
They gave me a new screen and nothing works.
Yeah.
My camera doesn't work for a while. My entire computer was. No, I mean, well, yeah. I'm here to that.
It would be like you better just give me a laptop. Just do it.
Yeah, it's not, my camera doesn't work anymore.
See, I couldn't handle that with how much money you spent on a MacBook. I would not be handling that very well. Mhm.
It's my awesome
So,
Yeah, sure.
It's so good.
nah, that's not.
You can make it, can't you?
Hey, Martha, what's up?
Trying to find out if I can record this since people are on my back.
And so apparently, like,
Oh,
a series of quotes that he said, where it's like, I can't believe he said that. So
Middle
like,
voice.
times his confidence gets low, but you're
What, recording on Volcano?
and sometimes
All right.
it's not the answer.
Way to let me know that I failed. No, it's
Why
good.
don't
It's
you? Why
fine.
don't you like the colors on that? That looks awesome.
No, if you close it, the logo on the back, it's just that green thing. Real
Well,
loud.
I have that. I have that on my mouse though.
Oh,
Exciting.
so,
Like that.
okay.
Yay!
We're about to start.
okay, cool.
I just say yay. No, that's still an amazing.
It's about.
I still have the door. Yes, I can do that. Otherwise, it's gonna fall off. Thanks so much for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. If you haven't gotten pizza yet, there's still time, there's still pizza. So tonight really is just all about stories on our students. So we brought 4 different students from across 3 different schools for you guys to talk to today. Some of you have submitted questions to us via our meetup, so I compiled some of them, some of the ones I thought would be beneficial for the entire group, and ask some of them today. For those questions I don't get to, if you submitted one, so they get answered, it'll be answered by me, and it's just some of our students if I need them to answer one in particular. And then I will send it out as a follow-up to the event on Meetup. I can have all of the answers to all the questions. So I'll be going through these. At the end of it, you guys can jump in, ask your own. But for right now, I think we're going to get started. So you guys are all here because you're interested in just learning a little bit more about Zipco Wilmington. For those of you who don't know, Zipco Wilmington was started by a lot of really hardcore businessmen here in Wilmington who were really interested in doing something really big for the city. So they looked around, saw where the women needs were, and decided that they wanted to open for a museum. They went to a lot of different programs across the country, including ones in San Francisco, and eventually decided to just go ahead and do it on their own. So that's why we're here today. We have actually met with top organizations here in Washington, including JP Morgan, Capital One, Bank of America, and others, to identify what their most pressing needs are for entry-level developers, and then we designed a 12-week curriculum around that that's designed to prepare newbies, beginners, even some people with a little bit of biggest learning experience, and turn them into rock-solid professional software engineers who can really contribute to the software engineering team straight away. So right now I'm going to introduce some of our students and let them introduce themselves, actually. So why don't you just what your background was before coming to Cisco? What you're doing before? What your coding background was? Like what prior experience you had? Any? I'd say what you're doing now. So if you're a student now, if you're working now.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Harper. Before Zip Code, I was a receptionist/office manager for 3 years at a construction company. Coding experience, I taught myself how to build websites, so I know HTML and CSS. I taught myself that when I was 11 or 12. But otherwise, any languages like Java, JavaScript, I did know them. And now I do, and now I work as a Java developer for JP.
Hi everyone, I am Tenny Augustin. Before Zip Code, I was an administrative professional in a small auto finance office in New Jersey. I didn't really have very much professional coding background. Maybe when I was younger, I did some like HTML stuff on mute. Maybe. It might have been Harry Potter. But now I am employed with Marlin Funding. I am a software developer. I don't want to say that I'm just a Java developer because I've actually been working in Python, and SQL, and all that fun stuff.
Hi, my name is Alejandro. Before I came here, I was a front-end developer, like a junior front. I was just getting into K-State JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and all the other stuff that I kind of dabble in was in my time. So coming here was kind of like my chance to break into what I really wanted to do, which was software development and website. So currently I'm a student, and we're 6 weeks in. I was looking through. Doesn't exist.
So my name is Marcy. I'm in 1.0 first class. I'm currently employed at Bank of America, software engineer. What's the code? I did a lot of things. Also, I did student management and did marketing as applications and going on for about a year. And I heard about this just seeing exactly what I wanted in my life. So I studied up before Zip Code. I did very little programming. I made a couple of games in a program called Game Maker Studio. They uses like a very messy version of JavaScript, so I guess I would say I understood some like fundamental concepts, but my coding was so bad that I'm kind of afraid to look at like what I did. So it's not like I had a giant like leap or knowledge base to stand on. I pretty much like I guess I learned with the pre-course material and with what I got here in school.
So all of you guys are coming from different backgrounds, some are technical, some are not. But all of you guys ended up applying for Wilmington because you had some sort of passion for software engineering or learning. Can you guys speak a little bit about what interests you in programming? You don't have to go first. Anybody can jump in.
I know change. Zip code was a perfect opportunity to go ahead and make that change. And I knew that getting into the tech field would really prepare me for the future in more ways than one, not just professionally, but also just knowing that we're surrounded in technology. I wanted to be a part of that movement. I know my jumping off point for becoming interested in tech was at a very young age. I never pursued it professionally, but it was kind of a hobby thing. Like I loved video games, and I never really thought of it as being a career option until Zip code.
Adding on to that, for me, the reason why I came here, it was creativity. I think that a lot of us enjoy making things or just like drawing or painting or anything like that. I think everyone in my cohort has some sort of hobby that they have. But when you add software into it, it multiplies whatever you can do. And if you think about it, everything that you use has software in it somewhere. And like basically the paintbrush that you can use once you're a software developer is so much more powerful than you could have imagined. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many things that I think of now that I can start to think of having to it. Whereas 6 weeks ago, I couldn't even begin to think of how.
So I'm just gonna be very blunt. I was not happy in the last job. I felt like I could offer so much more, and I was given an opportunity to do so. So I actually had my best friend was in the first classes of Canolism, and shout out. So once I saw that she had gotten in, she pretty much came to me as a boss. So I did. I would say that money was a large factor, just being honest. It was not, my salary was not good. So basically the thing is that although money was a driving factor for me, behind that, I also love math, love math, I love problem solving, pretty creative. So it wasn't just like, you can't just have money be the sole factor for you being here. You have to also like the problem solve, and you just have to stick with it. Because if you don't love it, pretty much not gonna do it.
It's 12 weeks.
12 weeks, and you want to have a paycheck, you have to love it to keep going through it. So don't let money just be the only factor for you. Go through it.
Yeah, with me, it's like every time I get asked this question, I almost have a different answer. It's not because like switching back and forth on my joints, there were so many reasons to do it. I mean, I've always been passionate about technology. I've been breaking computers since I was like 4. So, you know, it just was like the most natural thing to do. I know there's this program that's doing this, and do all this for 12 weeks. Honestly, for me, even if I wasn't promised a job at the end, or I wasn't ready to get a job at the end, if that's not what the end goal was, I still was going to go to the program, you know, just because I felt like I should have learned the code like I was like 10. You know, it was just something like I knew computers in and out, hardware wise, and it's like I just felt it was time for me to actually learn how to actually, I guess you could say, directly communicate.
So piggybacking off of what Jocelyn said, I was also extremely dissatisfied with my job, and actually leading at that moment when I decided to apply for Zip code, I was reading a lot in the media about how there was a gender gap in STEM. So I, being one for solutions, was naturally drawn to tech, but maybe as a woman growing up, it wasn't necessarily put in my hands. So I decided to take it upon myself to be part of that solution, to close the gender gap a little bit at a time. I know I'm just one person, but I do like to think about how I took that mantle rather than just taking a passive role and just continuing to read about it. It's one thing to be aware, but also being within it. It's also very rewarding.
Once you're in it at the moment, there are so many opportunities in that moment. Get on in the field. Sure. All right. So let's start at the beginning. I know that some people here who have already applied to code. Some people here are thinking about applying. Okay. So can you just some advice for people who are maybe going through the code application process? If you use any resources besides the resources that I provided in particular, you can mention that as well. But take a few months.
Yeah, I do. Probably what Brett's saying is, but every single person that that does anything related to code, including us up here, are the more questions. I mean, I'll give you all my personal email, if you like stuff with things. Just anything that don't be afraid to, on Stack Overflow and just looking at some different things, talking to people on there, don't control everybody, but just genuinely ask questions, put it in here, learning code, you're becoming part of that, everywhere, contribute to it, don't just come and get it.
I think that one of the things that they really look for in trying to apply is that it could be that you know how to program well, but can you program in a way that other developers can look at it, read it, and can you talk about your code without showing? These are skills that you may not be expected to know coming into it, but having that raw potential and being able to think it through and work with other people to write code without testing on pilot, things like this, it's important to show that you can logically think through a problem and explain with your team or department how you would go about solving it, being motivated by school to a better solution. Always a better solution.
So I would say don't be afraid to struggle, because coding, anything tech related, you're going to face something that you've never seen before. Technology is always developing. It's hard to be, it's hard to keep up with all that stuff. So make sure that when you're struggling, which is invariably going to happen, that you're open enough and open-minded enough to realize that and to reach out to people around you, reach out to resources online, and to Alejandro's point, open yourself up to different perspectives, whether that's on your team or your partner or wherever really you can find it. Probably interesting.
Be comfortable with it.
So as far as giving you advice for the beginning application process, specifically all of you go through the line. If you do the Code Academy, I know that some people do it once if that's a requirement. Do it more than once. Just go through it once and then just decide, oh well, I'm good now. No, because that's going to come back and it's going to bite you because you're going to need to know what's on that. Definitely do that more than once. Stack Overflow, like Marjorie said, definitely a great resource. It's a resource that we use as senior developers and everybody that's pretty much everybody uses Stack Overflow. Also, another thing that was very helpful for me was Reddit. I had more specifically CS career questions. CS career questions, I posted in there a bunch. There are forums there specifically geared toward JavaScript or Java, and if you just do a simple search on there, you can figure out things. So yeah, Reddit. So definitely use your Google. Learn how to Google. Yeah, that's Google.
Yeah,
Google
that's
food.
so
Googling
important.
is so important.
So important. Just knowing what question to ask can save you so many hours of searching.
And it's not Googling for like a solution, right? So if you have a problem, you're not Googling for that solution. It's like more so realizing what you need to do, and then if you can't figure out a certain portion of what you need to do, Googling that. And I think that ties in with what Alejandro was saying about like people break down problems and making it resolve. So Google's your friend.
The more code you write, the better it will be process. So it's your work samples, these tutorials, build as much stuff as you can.
Yeah, definitely. Free coursework that you should be doing a lot more than honestly. Like, yeah, if you only get the free coursework, then in class, you got it and everything, you fine. You don't want to be in a position where you didn't get most of your time. It's very true. There are some people I know that it's like, and they really got a lot more out of it. And I got a lot out of it, but it's just like, this person actually helps me. You know a lot about SQL databases.
Yeah, my friend Kelsey, at her job, she was pretty much tasked with, hey, build this database. And she was just like, something. So she taught herself SQL in order to, and she was amazing at it, and then that's what spurred her to try to do it. So.
Yeah, like, she was like, we had a class on SQL, and she was like, I never did all this stuff.
She's not really great at it. Kelsey will look in her hair probably.
I just want to add to what they're saying. For somebody that may be in trouble. If you come through the code's application process, you're going to struggle. Everybody who got in has struggled. Nobody has, completely excelled to the point where, we could offer you a software engineering job today. That's not the point. The point is to see coachable, how you work in a team, you have a basic understanding of syntax, how you break down problems. Those are really what we're going to be looking for throughout our group interview as well as the other professional interviews that we're going to go through. There's going to be an individual assessment in addition to the professional interview. As past cohort, the total amount of points that you can get on the individual assessment was 400. The highest score that we got was 200. So please just be aware that all of our assessments are designed to challenge you. And don't let that overwhelm you.
I know.
Don't let that overwhelm you. I've seen people get overwhelmed with research because they felt like art was really challenging when it's intentional. All right, so I think a lot of people are going to be interested in just learning some of the data as a code. We use code about
The funny thing about zip code is the cohorts are kind of versions. For example, there's 1.0 and then there's 2.1, and so now, 2.0. We have 2.1, so the first number is the year, so 2 years. So now we're 2.1 second. And so with each iteration, the program gets better, and it gets much better. To the point that things change drastically, but it's all in good faith. So our days may look different from theirs. I know that very often we have lectures coming from professional companies. And for example, Shadow Financial just came in and talked to us about microservices. I think 2.1 we did have something.
Yeah, so I'll just say what an average day for me was like because it can vary. We're at 2.0, but it can vary per person. So for me, I was there at 7 o'clock every day. Did whatever class started at 9. I was there at 7 because I needed to catch up on labs and I needed to read. And then you went through the day. You had maybe 1 or 2 lectures a day. Then you had lab time, and that was until 5. If you were lucky, you could go home at 5. If not, we had guest speakers from professional companies come in and speak to us, and that would last probably 7. sometimes later, depending on who was speaking. And then after that, I would stay later because I still needed to read. I still needed to do labs. So I would, so I was there to maybe like 9, 10. I think like the latest day I was there was like 1 or 2 in the morning, but that's because I had a project due like the next day. So I was there really late. Yeah, lots of times. But then like say that's Monday, Tuesday, do it again.
Yeah, I've known people stay there. They
So
sleep
late.
overnight.
So yeah, so
Sometimes.
overnight, just I wasn't about that life. I was about getting to sleep.
There's someone in this room where I came in at like 6 in the morning. He was asleep on the couch. It was like, yeah, well, I realized that like I could either fall asleep and then come late, or I could just drive back to work and just sleep at work and then be there for the lecture. Like that's the kind of decisions you might end up making sometimes.
Like things you never thought
You're gonna,
the same person would make, but you start making them at some point.
to be honest, a lot of people in the program right now, they're working 8 hours. Some maybe a little less, some more. I think there are 1 or 2 weeks where I've been there more. But after a while, you don't count because the environment that they've carefully cultivated is actually kind of fun for a lot of people. It's painful. It's also fun. So our days right now, they're pretty similar. But there's like things that change around. So in the morning, because they want us to be fresh and they want our shirts to be fresh and everything, professional people will come in and we'll have lectures, and they can talk about anything from software testing to architecture to just things that they see in their company and that they're kind of hoping to share with us. And so that's very helpful because we can get some face-to-face time with employees and ask them questions and kind of get more comfortable with the people that we might be working with. So by the time that interviews come along, we might already know that person. So after that, then we would have the core hours are 9 to 5. And you're kind of expected to put in the time that you need to stay on track. That's usually way more than 40 hours a week. So for me, I think the first 2 or 3 weeks was coming in at 6, leaving past 7, most of the time 10. And then also on Saturday, it's called Side Project Saturdays. So people will come in on the weekend and then they'll work on something that isn't directly related to the lecture, but it's just something that they're interested in. And because everyone's there, they can say, oh, you know, I've worked with TypeScript before, like I can do this with it. Or I've worked with Angular 1, but I'm trying to transition to 2, and I'm trying to just work on a project with that. And so that's what Saturday usually is. So some people use it to catch up on work. It's kind of the most often thing that people do right now. And then Sundays, technically, I'm also there on Sundays too. Actually, so Memorial Weekend just passed. There were people there every day. So maybe it wasn't the whole day. They might come in for 2 hours. But it comes to the point where people will come in and then they'll just hang out. Like there's a community there because I think that the process of kind of getting it's all about taking the people that we work together and being able to kind of, and so it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of hours.
Okay. So actually, just very quickly, because you all talked a lot about the hours shifts. They're not lying. Change careers is also really hard. But I just want to ask you guys personally, like, is there any ways that you guys trying to burn out and like
I'll take that one. For me, I think it's burnout. I remember at one graduation party, I just met Dawn, and the only thing that Dawn said to me after the party was that get enough sleep. And I took that part because there's no way that you're going to get through the program getting on 4 hours a night. So I was pretty diligent about getting like my 16 hours because otherwise I would really need it. Starbucks a lot.
I didn't drink coffee that much.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't a coffee drinker at all. No, I was like chai tea, black tea all the time. And no, that's just so bad. You can't do that.
There's this one guy, Sam, and it's like, I don't drink coffee. And like the third day, it's just like, I think I'm gonna do it. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like seeing it pot and stuff like that.
Just make sure you get enough sleep. Know that, know your limits. Because, I mean, there will be something in you that will be like, no, I need to like get this reading done. But honestly, it's better to go to bed, get your sleep, maybe wake up earlier, and then go in early to get your reading done. Because you're not doing like a service to yourself if you're reading when you're completely tired. You'll read the chapter, but the next day, you're not going to remember anything from the chapter anyway.
The best thing you can do is just set a rigid schedule you have to follow, or a rigid routine you have to follow. Because if you start falling out of that, you can start to fall behind. So I had a rigid schedule where I would eat certain things, I would go to sleep at a certain time, and even with that, I was only getting about 5.5 hours average the first week, because it's like helping. But I mean, after that, you kind of get used to it, and you kind of get used to certain things. So at the end, lackadaisical, and before long, you're not eating at the right time, or something like that. And I did get a little bit of burnout like last week. That was tough, trying to get back on track. So if you can avoid that, eating properly, sleeping the right amount of hours a night that you need to do, that's good. And the biggest thing I think for me is making it fun for yourself. So we're going to do a lot of like programming where it seems to come dry. But for me, like I would put the way that I deal with stress is kind of first. So I would add a little thing on top of the program as a treat, I guess. So for example, we have to write scientific calculators, and they said, okay, we'll add like 2 more features. So my extra feature was that Kanye is actually a calculator using that review, and every other time that he calculates something, he quotes himself. Stupid things, just like, I'm the voice of a generation, the answer's 7. Something like that actually got me through. And just all of a sudden now I'm kind of turning that into an iOS app, an Android app. And so if you can make it fun for yourself early, you can push yourself to the point that when you're just looking at learning Java, and they start to show you about like iOS apps and stuff, and you look up, you actually see all the stuff you can do. It's actually fun. And so that's super important. Make it fun for yourself.
I can agree with that. If you can contextualize what you're doing into something that you want to do, then it doesn't feel like you're putting in a lot of hours. Like you'll realize that time is flying only when you look up from what you are passionately doing. And you're like, oh crap, 4 hours later. So that's what really pushed me, and also just to hold yourself accountable to these things. Like throughout the code, I had this little voice in the back of my head telling me what I should be doing, and part of that was reminding myself not to like, let's make it fun. So it was making projects fun. It was also having a camaraderie with the people around you. If you don't like the people that you're working with, then that's going to just spoil the whole situation for you. So, for example, Jocelyn and I and some of our other friends, we formed a little like troop, and we pushed each other together. So, I actually got me through this program.
I also just want to add this, I think what that program is like focus and balance of like
We love Adventure Time Munchkin. Oh my gosh. Well, we got to a point where, well, maybe we're not at that point, but I felt like we were at that point where we could actually have fun and do things like that. We played so much Adventure Time Munchkin because that's like just like if you're so stressed out. Like I know that we had to build an ionic app in like 48 hours for our open house or whatever, which was that was the worst part of the program for me. I was like, oh my god, no. We played Munchkin because I thought that I was pretty much like this, and that's like the stressful favorite. Like, it's stressful, but there's taking breaks is so important. So important.
I had a very different experience with the code news. they were like, everything you're saying is what you should do, the right amount of sleep, pace yourself, everything like that. Me, on the other hand, Dominique probably puts on this. I didn't get a lot of sleep at all. I got maybe good days, 5 hours of sleep, good times where after time goes good. I barely slept after the weekend because I was so disappointed in myself, Uh, I had to switch it up in terms of the type of food I was eating, a lot of pasta, a lot of things like that. But I know with myself, it slowed down my thinking. So I had to switch that all up. And with me, I just on the habit of being really hard on myself, just keep rage pushing to the end, I don't care how long this takes, I'm gonna get it done. But
you have to have that persistence. Time. You have to cut yourself some slack.
Yeah. I don't care. I'm gonna get done. There'd be times where I did the number one thing he told us not to do the first day. Don't isolate yourself. I'm I don't care. It's for going to this get this project done solo. He's all right, man. All right, if you really think that's best, I'm it is what's best. I thought it was best.
You gotta know when to ask for help.
Yeah, and
you don't have enough time to do it yourself.
No, you don't.
You just don't. And there's no award for doing that by yourself. It's like
Nobody's
good
gonna
job.
pat you on the back.
You did it.
It's kind of
It's 12. It's like 2 a.m. now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's trying to spell a word you can't spell it, and you have a dictionary.
Exactly.
So it's don't reinvent the wheel, and no coders and islands.
She wanted to play us off, but
Okay, so you mentioned coder a little bit. Just wanted to know if you use coder to enhance the tech meetups, creating events, creating projects, what was
Yes, an integral part of the program. You don't really get a choice to much to go to the meetups. To be honest, you could not go, but you really be selling yourself short of broad educational experience. Because being in zip code is one thing. Yeah, you learn your code, but you need to eventually go out in the world and see who else codes too. So not just we just were saying, it's not just you and computer, it's you, everyone else in the bad
You got it wrong. Yeah, I go to tech meetups all the time. It's really, really important to go do that because education doesn't stop after zip code. You, as a developer, as a software engineer, you are going to be teaching yourself something new every day. I go to work every day and I'm still figuring something out. What is this annotation? What does this mean? Where does this word come from? So it's really important that you don't pigeonhole yourself because this is Java, right? So maybe you'll want to learn another language your code with Python, So you can learn Python, or maybe you like Ruby and then that is Ruby on Rails, and you want to get into mobile development and then you'll learn Swift. So it's really important to get out there and read books, lots of books, and go to tech meetups and things of that nature because maybe you'll find something that you like from the tech meetups didn't know that you'd be interested in. So.
When you get used to this pace, it's kind of hard to slow down. And so before long, you'll have 3 or 4 little passion projects on the side. You'll have a little group of people doing something. It's it's an accelerator. So wherever you were before, you will not be there tomorrow. And you will get used to the pace, and you will just want to go just for fun. Because those people in those users groups, you're gonna know them. You're entering a community, and it's a lot of people, a lot that are passionate, and you're gonna want to be part of that.
Yeah, like you said about adjusting as far as totally spin, you don't know about this yet, but as far as slipping into your job and then you're used to doing this 80 to 100 hour work week, and getting things done, and then you're starting a job where you're like 9 to 5, and you're just like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? You don't know what to do with yourself because you're used to like something going, like you're working on something constantly. So in order to combat that, like meetups, reading, I read like
So much stuff I want to read.
oh yeah. I'm jealous of that though. So yeah. You're gonna find yourself. You're always gonna be learning and finding things. So that.
You're gonna have so many ideas that you can't follow up on personally. And then after those 12 weeks, then you can work on those ideas, and you're gonna want to show them off.
Yeah, I'm actually from Philly, which makes me a bit of a black sheep. But there's a lot of Philly tech stuff that goes on too. Like I went to Philly Tech Week, and I really got to see the what that scene looks like, and I got to see what the Wilmington scene looks like. And my employers are actually starting their own hackathon, or they're going to be doing their own hackathon. Ooh. Should I let you know? Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's a plug. We've actually started a Java user group. Yeah. A Java user group. So typically in big cities they have groups dedicated to Java users. We actually started one in Wilmington, which is tomorrow at 6 o'clock at JP Morgan Chase. I'll put my email or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's also just great. Like, you don't need to be like a mid or senior level software engineer in order to get involved in the scene anywhere. So the next Java user group was started by people in
Language too, right? I heard we were trying to contribute to Java.
Yeah, that's something that we're looking into because of Java 9. So we're looking to do some some testing. I think we're trying to get involved in as far as that.
Yeah, so basically what I understand is like the language will go through multiple releases, and so for the next release, because it's open source, you can kind of grab hold of a piece of it and then write something to make it better. So you're getting to contribute to the language. So you're interested in that.
I'm going to give a really short flip over on the subject of blogs. So this weekend there is a hackathon happening. Called Data Hacks. It's sponsored by OpenAI Delaware, which is the organization that's trying to really push for having open, usable data sources available from government sources. So all background, most of the locals are welcome at a hackathon. Usually we need both developers and project managers and content people and marketing people, everything. So we'd love for you guys to come out. You can find information at opendatadelaware.com. I'll put that website on there. Okay. That's this Saturday. I forget the hour for this Saturday. It's all good. So we'll over that Delaware.com. Okay. Sue, lots of so sure or was kind of done really interested in what the job process is like in a transition after the full exam. So can you guys tell us a little bit about what the experience is like if you do
It's pretty scary. I guess I'll go first. So I had 4 interviews for my apprenticeships, and they were terrifying. So basically, for a normal tech interview, you go into the room, the people act normal, act personable, of course, that's the first thing for an interview. Don't be weird. And then it's true. It's like you can be really good at coding, but if you're weird, you may not fly.
Not too loud.
Wow, yeah, it's just weird stuff. So anyway, they do like normal basic interview questions, like what brought you here? Why are you applying to this company? Blah 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 blah. And then the tech stuff comes in. Tech stuff is like they'll start asking you interview with a company. I had a group of 6 people in this one interview, and 5 of them were devs. So I was terrified. I was like, they're going to be apart, right? And there's this senior dev for 17 who's just like rapid firing like questions at me just to see like if I knew anything. Which is it. And then they had me like whiteboard, and you'll learn about this because once you get to the application process, that's part of your interview. Whiteboard like algorithms and problems on the board, and UML, and going through that. But they lasted maybe 20 to 30 minutes. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it's terrifying once you get in there, but
You have to do that.
don't be terrified. I mean, be terrified because I can't. My anxiety levels are so high. But like after you do your first one, then the next one, your head is big about it. So for me, that was just, at least with ZipCode, they helped us prepare very a lot for that because like 2 weeks before that was nothing but like mock tech interviews and making sure that you knew what polymorphism was, and that's really, really important. Like every interview is going to ask you what polymorphism is and things of that nature. So it's really important. Like they'll laugh at you if you don't know what that is. But yeah, I mean, ZipCode does a really, really good job of preparing you for that, making you go through tech interviews and telling you what to do wrong. I mean, they even told me to smile more in my interviews because I was just terrified. I was terrified in my mock interviews. So it's just about being personable and doing your stuff. And as long as you do all of the coursework on ZipCode, you should be fine. So, and look, there's Matt. What's going on?
Monday is a student with me, and Sir Dean is also a poker student. So we're together.
Yeah. So.
They came for pizza.
Yeah, we're really used to free pizzas.
Yeah.
Okay, nice,
Just kidding. I'm
So what's your experience at ZipCode?
For pizza.
Yeah, pizza code.
So I have a question.
I don't know. How did I okay. Can I answer that? How I got the interview, or is that something you want to?
Oh, you mean like how you got okay. I can answer that, yeah. So basically, the fund organization, so anything you push their interested, they get the resume, they get to know them through, like the different professional events that we have, the morning and afternoon. And then our directors of partnership will actually supplement the list with the individual or the fit for a particular partner organization. And that's not
Oh. Well, you can say like if you're interested in the company, but ultimately they are going to put you in a company that knows that it's fit for you. So yeah, we're not doing that. Oh Lord.
I would say this. My experience, those interviews are just like any other. They're gonna see if you're fine with their company, you're gonna be a fit for the culture, and if you know what you're talking about, and do what you say you can do on your resume. So I mean, just keep that in mind. I'm not finding it any different than the other interviews.
Right. There's not much work out. And the people that have set up the interview, they're kind of like that interview, so you have references already. So,
You know, throwing in no chair back on, if you get to that point, then you're gonna be more than prepared for your
Okay, so let's go to our next slide. Can you talk a little bit about like a day and also how the code compares to each other? How much what you learned for the transfer over into
The code was 10 10 million times harder than what I do at my job right now. It's like my job is challenging with certain things in terms of like, certain programs and systems I'm working with, but the actual code itself is like stuff that, I mean, I don't want to say I'm sleeping now, but like, I'm very confident with every single problem that he's thrown at me at my job. It's like, this project I'm working on is just like, okay, bring on, really. That's my attitude. But then again, like, it took a long time to get there. That's plenty of work as a code, and just when I figured out what I was going to be doing at my job, like beforehand, when my recruiter got back to me, like what exactly I'm going to be working with, and gave me this long list of stuff. So I studied everything, and only like half of what was on there was stuff I was actually working on when I got to work. I just did my homework, but the thing is about being an actual industry, the code is going to push you a lot harder than anywhere else will probably expect you, well, will push you on day one. Because it's like, you're learning all this in 12 months.
So at my company, the feeling is very palpable that your coworkers and the people that are around you want you to succeed. So when I take things at code, that helps me out in that environment is the ability to communicate what problems I'm facing. So what you're talking about is amazing skill to have, even if maybe you don't really feel that confident behind the keyboard. If you can talk about what you're going through and talk yourself through it, almost you'll find the solution. And if you don't, you have people around you that are invested in your success. It's certainly that way. So code, even if you get some tough love there, that tough love will definitely carry you into your workplace.
Yeah, I will say that besides obviously how to code, they also taught me how to deal with problems on my own. Whereas you, I think you're a lucky one because you got a laundry list of what you were working on, so you kind of like research what you were going for. I didn't know what team I was going to be on until like 3 days before my first day. So basically, Zipcode taught me how to deal with not being like handed something basically, or like holding your hand through this. So my team's really small, so when I got there, I pretty much got the code deployed on my computer, and I was sitting there for the first day for just like 8 hours going through the code and teaching myself how it worked and things of that nature. But as Tenny said as well, when you get to your job, when you get to your team, your manager is invested in you, and your team members are invested in you. So, like you said, those are resources that you can honestly go to. But Zipcode was definitely helpful in teaching me how to research things on my own and figure out how things work. Because you can go to your manager and your team all the time for things, but then there's also an aspect of if it's something that you can actually go out and research or find somewhere through multiple resources like Google or through your company has like internet or something, do that first and then go.
Cool. So I'm going to just open it up for questions now. Anybody has any questions?
I have a question. My question is, let's say you want to, what advice would you give somebody preparing to apply to Zipcode? Like, what would you tell them to do?
So we did that at the beginning. Next question.
I want to hear. I'm still curious. No, what would you tell them?
Besides the resource work, study as much about coding and software engineering as possible. Like I said, look at joining the actual, I guess you could say, the community of coders and programmers out there as opposed to just what you take from it.
I don't know if you said this before, but going to meetups before you're even in Zipcode might even be good.
Anybody still want to meet up tomorrow? Yes. You want some more homework, don't you?
Someone who gets it in the school and get those books and start reading before they get made, but JavaScript in particular.
That's
Thinking Java.
thinking Java for college.
Start out with thinking Java.
I mean, that's what they're
You could
gonna
also
be
do
using.
head
Why
first.
do they
I
not?
would say head first angle.
Java.
Eloquent JavaScript. Eloquent JavaScript. There's an online version. You can also get both. That's great. John Duckett's HTML and CSS. Also, John Duckett's jQuery and JavaScript. They're great books for people that are visual. Clean code. Clean code, Clean coder.
Yes, and then effective Java, which is what I'm reading right now. It's amazing.
Sorry, that's a good idea. I also recommend going to a bunch of blogs, because then you can go directly to people who are doing it actively in that moment in real time. So yeah, I read a lot of blogs. For me, that's really helpful. And I also go directly to the source of like documentation by people who've actually made languages. That's really helpful.
Things change fast enough in this field that blogs are often going to be your like first line when you see what's going on right now. But there are some things that just like haven't really changed as fast as that. Spencer and I books. And there's tons of stuff on YouTube. People will just have trouble with something you post. And so if it's like more like common knowledge, like you can definitely look at that. If it's something that's really new, I want to go to the source the person created it. Also, they're whispering Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob is a very well-known programmer, software engineer, and he's known for kind of like coaching other programmers to learn how to work together, write code that we can all learn together, and not have this issue of the bigger the program gets, the harder it is. He's really helpful for that kind of stuff. Actually, he was the guy that inspired, and I think he wrote Big Code. Yeah, he wrote those two books. So you should look at those.
So we had 250 applicants for the semester, and we accepted 25. Yeah, and we're really yeah, we're looking for really great students. We're looking for people who we really feel we can get to the finish line in 12 weeks. So we're looking for passion, we're looking for grit, we're looking for people who play well in a team. We're looking for people who have a basic grasp of the syntax, and ultimately are going to be able to push through everything throughout them, and then feel confident that we can get to the finish line and get to a job.
Some people apply multiple times before they get their spot.
Mhm.
That's
I mean,
okay,
some
it just
people-
needs more practice.
How many people do you interview for the first applicant will add 200 approved on the next step? Well, nearly everybody moves on from the next step to the video interview. Not everybody, but nearly everybody moves on to the video interview. The main step in which people actually like disqualify themselves from running is by completing Codecademy JavaScript tutorial. We actually give all of our students a tutorial to prepare for the group interview. It's really imperative that you guys complete the tutorial to make sure that everyone's on a level playing field and that everyone is completely prepared to take on the challenge that they're going to be facing during the group interview. The vast majority of people actually disqualify themselves from being considered for admission into code because they do not complete that tutorial. You know,
In the group interview, are you allowed to use resources like Google or any other resources? Or?
Yes. That's why when you're coding, you don't hear that all the time. Kind of like what we were saying earlier, you gotta use all your resources.
You gotta know how to use it though. Yeah, that's
So I remember average college, but the youngest was 18 the last cohort, and the oldest was 55.
So while you spend a lot of time there, because the materials, like if library materials that you have access to here on site, like thinking in topical, is it here on site?
Yeah, we have multiple copies of Thinking in Java, but we have other books that, for example, the sysadmin book, which talks about like using the command line, things that you can use to work on like a large computer system. There's also, C++ books, I think that's in Python. If you have a question about something, very often your instructor will just like lead you to the bookcase, pull out a book for you and say, read this chapter. So multiple times I've asked a question, but I'll say, check this out, and I have more readings to do.
And at least for my cohort, they provided PDFs of books that we were going to use, like core books that we were using in class. So you don't have to worry
Buy
about
the
like,
book though.
yeah, I would suggest buying the book for yourself, for your own personal library, for your own websites, but they will give you a PDF.
Like the main resource is just other coders and other people working beside you, your instructors and stuff. You're not really going to go to a book. You're probably going to ask your neighbor or something.
Well, I mean, if they do the reading, they're going to need the book, right?
Do the reading.
Probably why most people are on site, not specifically for the book, probably for like the company and like the companions have been working as a team and stuff.
Our one of the things for today is that I think the last cohort out of 25, 2 people had internships. So it's like everyone doesn't qualify for a job, or maybe they do some more work, they will offer internships instead, or do some people drop out?
I totally answer the question. Yeah, so there's 3 things that I like to say about zip code. 1, it's not guaranteed you're going to get in. 2, it's not guaranteed that if you get in, you're going to finish it. And 3, it's no guarantee that if you finish it, you're going to get a job. Everybody in the past cohorts has done above and beyond the call of duty to get themselves, the people that are talking about in the article. I didn't even know the article came out yet. But,
Like who's today? Announcing the new director?
right,
Yes.
okay,
Who's today?
Melanie, right.
Yeah, Melanie.
So, so the point is that everybody that got their jobs, and the 2 that do the apprenticeships, the apprenticeship that they took, is they chose to work with a startup company that they were really interested in their technology. It's something that they can add to their portfolio. Those people are also in a different position than everybody else, and they were looking for a very specific fit, but they're still interviewing, and they're trying to find the job that works best for them. I think even because it was originally 3 that were doing apprenticeships, and one of them kept interviewing and found the job he liked. The other 2 are still interviewing. Like, it takes a while sometimes to get a job. We create a weird. It's a little weird and unrealistic how people get jobs. Like, because honestly, 90% of the last class was placed in their jobs before the last week of graduation, before graduation. Most coding schools advertise those type of numbers 6 months after the fact, and we're advertising that. I mean, it's not advertising; it's just what happened. Everybody's doing something. And everybody's doing something that they love. If you want a job, if you want the most opportunities, there were 27 students. Out of the 27 students, there were 36 job offers. Okay? And so, there were more than enough jobs going around. It's just, everybody, some people need a little bit longer. But it's not because of lack of jobs. I'm just being real about it. It's lack of preparation. And it's no slight on the 2 students that are still doing the apprenticeships. They are strong candidates. And any company would be lucky to pick them up. And I know one of them is currently interviewing first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I just had to ask this. You don't really tell in the article.
Right.
It was like 25, but 2 got this. And I was like, oh, I wonder why.
Well, no, honestly.
That's the night.
Honestly, that's the reason why. It's just, everybody in here has been on the job hunt before. It takes a while to get a job sometimes, and we don't want to. I kind of hate those numbers a little bit because it creates an unrealistic expectation. Like, you got to come in and study like you're about to go on a job interview. then you got to go on a job interview. Like, you're going on a job interview. Like, your job is to get that job, right? And people get a little sense of entitlement, like somebody's supposed to be spoon-fed or handed to them, and that just won't work out. That's not a slight on anybody that made it to the program, right? And we are very adamant about making sure that you don't feel like there's a spoon in your mouth. Do a good job of that. Hey, man.
So I know that 3 years is like 300 years in, you know, so I'm gonna say 3 to 5 years, but it can be short. And I'm wondering where you guys, so it's 2 parts. Where do you guys see yourselves in sort of that 3 to 5 year mark, your evolution, and also how do you see helping to evolve the community, either here in the Wilmington area or actually within your chosen fundraiser or here?
I'll start. So in 3 to 5 years, honestly, if I'm just like JP Morgan, that would be fine. It's just more so, what is my role going to be at 3 to 5 years? Hoping that right now I'm a junior level grad, so hopefully I'll be an associate level. And still continuing to work in Java, that would be really awesome. If for some reason I'm still not with PMC at 3 to 5 years, one of my goals, like a 2 to 3 year goal for me, after that possibly would try to apply to Google. Because I feel like if you get into an interview at Google and get accepted at Google, that's like a personal marker for yourself as dev. So I think that would be a nice challenge to take on. And as far as something for the community, being a woman in STEM, I always feel like I need to represent women in some way. Being a Black woman, I feel like I need to represent people of color, women of color. So if I can somehow get involved in, not to slight all women, but I mean in general, like women of color, they're not a lot. I think I read an interview a couple months ago where Black women make up less than 2% of the workforce currently for deaths, and that's just appalling.
Number from milk, not a great number.
No, it's like, oh God, I got injured. But for me to help women of color in some way, and possibly maybe even start, maybe when they're younger, maybe 12 years old, because like Tenny said earlier, being a woman, like being in tech wasn't something that was being discussed. It wasn't something that was like shown as a possibility for a career path for us. So giving back to the community in some way. I know there are a lot of places like Black Girl Coders is somebody on Twitter that they follow, and I think they're actually in Philly. There are a lot of things I've gotten noticed that somehow possibly bring that here. Yay!
So me, 3 to 5 years, I don't really know where I'll end up. I want to be open-minded, certainly, so I hope in a few years I'll have a lot more languages under my belt, to be more senior than I am now. I also do really want to give back to the community as well. So whether that's getting involved in a group such as Black Girls Who Code or Lesbians Who Code, or Latinos Who Code, etc. That's a possibility for me. I also have a background in psychology, so I'd like to see some tech in the social sciences field. I don't know how I'm going to make that giant leap, but you know what? Like I said, I'm being open-minded and just seeing what I can do. Like I'm trying to develop my own path, and it's just being a content creator, a woman, a non-white person, etc. Like just being that presence out there, I hope to inspire others, even if I'm not like explicitly doing stuff. Thank you, everyone.
I definitely agree with you about being flexible because, like, when you're given the tools that you get from this program, you have the potential to be a market disruptor. And that's basically that because you know something that's just so pivotal to a lot of the companies that compete with each other, you can change the game so it's never the same. So, like for example, you could do that at JP Morgan. You could do that at a lot of these banks or any of the partner companies that I've hired with. So, for me, if I'm there and I'm doing something like that, creating the biggest impact that I can, I can do that. I'm still going to be there 3 to 5, 10 years from now. But I mean, you never know when creativity is going to strike. You know, that idea that just hits you like life. The great thing about Zip Code is that you're suddenly one step closer to venture capitalists that you never would have been before outside of that. And actually, one of the board members is a venture capitalist who is hoping, you know, they've said that I think out of 100 people in a program like this, you would get one good startup. And we're getting close to 100 soon. And so, I mean, whether I'm at a startup that I created, or I'm working at JP Morgan, or I'm working at Comcast, or something like that, that's fine with me. But I do feel like when you have these, you have an obligation to teach those that do not have it. And so right now, because I have worked as previously, I'm getting more in contact with folks about the industry. So the other job was just good. I don't know. I'll maybe teach there. I don't know. My point is, I like to teach, but I just want to get back to
With that said, don't come to Zip Code looking for funding.
I already know my proposal.
5 years. Like with coding, I had very specific goals in mind of why I wanted to learn it. I'm working on something right now. I think it is what it is. But 3 to 5 years from now, if it's finished and I feel like it's ready in the market, I'll go that way. If it's not, I'm not gonna rush anything. But how I get back, I'm passionate about like teaching people, kind of getting people foot in the door in terms of coding. And the best way to help with it, help with those. So I show up, help with what I can. Like every class is getting like really faster than you do. So sometimes I get intimidated walking through the door, like JavaScript. Saw a few JavaScript last week, so they might not see me anymore. Just talk about something like
You guys up here now, and graduates as well. When you're going through the program, I don't know what type of home or family commitments you had at home, but if you did, how did you balance those versus the amount of work you had to get done or the number of hours that you put in?
I had good commitments, so I made sure I had none. My friends and family knew that I was gone 12 weeks. I didn't even answer text messages really. I didn't. So, calm down a bit, really. So, for 12 weeks, I pretty much just like delved into it, and I didn't answer any text messages. If I was texting somebody, I was texting my best friend because I was having a breakdown. So really, it's just like it. But like I said, I don't have kids, I don't have a boyfriend, I don't have like a husband. So for me, it was easy. I could just like shut it off and just focus on that. But I don't know for anybody else up here.
You gotta start saying your goodbyes. Everything I've been about, I moved home with my parents actually for this program, because I knew that there's just going to be some things that I'm just not going to be able to do. And if I don't do them, I'm not going to get through it. Your support system is everything. And so you need to kind of like identify what that support system is, figure out how they can best help you, and if they're willing to. And that's super important.
There's I just want to say one thing. Like, I understand everybody has lives and all that stuff. It's a 3-month commitment, and it's not that it's 90 days. But those 90 days, it's not a part-time thing. It's not a 9 to 5 thing. It's a very realistic number when we say 80 to 100 hours a week. I mean, a lot of people take that to be facetious, or some people say that, oh, well, I'm smart, I can just do that in 60 and get it done. It's very smart people that everybody remember, it's 25 out of 250. Everybody in the room is smart. Everybody in the room is doing 80 to 100 hours. It's not a commitment to take lightly. It's darn near impossible to make it through all the material. And it's impossible to make it through the material by yourself. And I mean, 80 hours a week. I mean, who in here was in Zipco this weekend?
All this weekend. Every weekend.
Who in here has left this year?
On Saturday.
Yes.
Whoa. Don't, hey, newbie.
What is with everybody?
They're
Like,
disrespectful.
I don't understand. Don't stop coming in and then talking. I'll stop.
The time commitment is a serious thing. Anybody that applies, the first thing I tell you is like, it's a serious time commitment. It's a lot of reading, it's a lot of programming, it's a lack of sleep, a lack of communication with people in your life. There's no way around it. People try to get around it, and those people end up tapping out after like a week or two. Yeah.
Actually, no, that does kind of bring a follow-up question of the number of people that start the program. What's your dropout rate, or how many people actually can complete the program?
Okay. I don't want to give a ratio yet.
Sure.
But I'll just tell you the exact numbers of people that didn't make it through. In our first class, we started off with 21, 17 graduated. In our second class, we started off with 35 and 27 graduated. Out of those 27, 2 of them are doing apprenticeships. In this class, we started off with 25, and we're now down to 24.
Is that due to is that like medical dropouts? Is it just
It's a mixture.
burnout? Is it?
It's a mixture of a number of things. The reason why I want to give out a number is I'm still getting the data back on that.
Sure.
There's been a medical dropout. There's been 2 people who just realized that after doing it for a month, this isn't the life that they chose. I didn't know hard feelings or anything. I mean, like, it's better to fail fast. Some people that we've asked to leave because they're holding the class back as a whole, which is the class has to move at a certain pace, and we try and get everybody there. But if you're not getting it at that pace, and that doesn't mean that you're not smart, not intelligent. This format is odd. There are other programs that are a little less of a time commitment, and they do it over. I mean, I know Deltec. This is not directed at you or any way, shape, or form, but there's another program at Deltec that's a 6-month commitment, 3 nights a week. You know, that might be a more doable commitment for some people just because of how life is. It may be a more conducive environment for you to learn at a slower pace. Those that do apply, I mean, like, and these are real numbers too, where we have hiring managers coming back from all of the companies saying that our people are performing at a higher capacity than other people that have been working there 2 to 3 years, and they've only been there for a few months. It's because that everybody that came in there, and number one, there's nothing going to be harder at your job than what you have to do at Zipco on a day-to-day basis. After doing that for 3 months, anything else that somebody asks you to do is just like, oh, I can do this light work. And it shows a level of commitment that they come back in droves for. You know, our first class we had 8 partners. Our second class we had more, and every day we have other people hitting us up trying to find people to hire, because the word is out that this is a good stream of labor as far as technical and software development.
Thanks. One more. I just want to tag on to that question, and that's open to, obviously, there's some current students who have joined here in the side here for the free pizza. Did any of you try any of the other, like Iron Forge or Open Project or any of those kind of programs, or consider those sort of programs before you came to Zipco? And how does it compare, or what made you come specifically zip code, if you looked at the others or participated in it.
I tried Udacity.com, and it's an online self-paced course. So I was working and trying to do it online. But to be honest, I didn't get the support that I get from zip code. I could say, hey, Jay, how does this code work? And Jay can break it down to me. Online, I post something, maybe somebody responded 24 hours. So to me, it wasn't worth it. I got more value out of it.
Yeah, yes, you can be a lifelong friend with Jake.
Learning a language, they call it computer language because it's a language. Like if you want to know France, you go to France. You go to what do if you want to go to, because the reason is it's full immersion. And especially everybody says France, because if you don't speak French in France, they get really, really rude. If you want to learn Java, go to boot camp. Go to Zip Code, go to any boot, go to a place where they speak that language, because it's the only way to learn it. Whether you learn it, you get a job and you're forced to do it, whether you do a boot camp, whether you do an apprenticeship, however you want to go about it. Zip Code is not the only answer; it's a good answer. But I'm biased. But there are other amazing boot camps out there. There's some crappy boot camps as well. So just pick your poison.
I taught myself a little bit of code before coming here, but when I came here, I found out that the code that I was writing was crap. So, but now I'm on my way to writing a lot better and cleaner code. Thanks, Dan.
I just had a question. I'm more partial to like a Swift language trying to learn that. Is there any way to incorporate that into or is this strictly Java?
Especially, we're not always just going to do Java. It's something that's on the horizon, nothing within 2016, for us to offer other languages.
But I'll say to that, from Swift, you need all of Swift, then you kind of understand the whole paradigm of object-oriented programming. Right? It's also very similar to JavaScript, which you were learning here as well. So you can incorporate some of that knowledge.
Yeah, if you learn the principles behind the language and just writing clean code, you can switch between languages. We start writing C++. Like there's a group of us that are now just translating all the labs we've done to C++ right now. It only took a few days to get started. And so I think that the really great thing about Zip Code is when you compare it to other programs, they're like, you're going to learn Ruby, you're going to learn JavaScript. Well, at Zip Code, you learn to do all of that stuff if you want to, the potential to do what you want to do in any language.
When Tariq was talking about like you can't just do the minimum, like when he's talking about having to go above and beyond, you're probably gonna have to learn some other language, and that's what the 3 hours you have on Saturday is gonna be for.
That's like grad
Now, one thing I will say is that boot camps are not a replacement for any type of university program. I think university programs are amazing. And as a product of them, I fully support them. Although I think that boot camps are a great supplementary tool after you finish. Like you learn the theory, you learn a lot of theory. You don't really get a healthy dose of implementation. Boot camps give you that healthy dose of implementation.
Would you guys offer boot camp influence in the last
Yeah, most likely. I look like that as well.
No more questions.
All right, no more questions.
So everybody learns the same languages, or we break into groups, or how does it work? Which languages?
It's Java and JavaScript, but as Alejandro very eloquently said, the curriculum is structured in such a way that it's language agnostic. There are particular types of languages out there. So there's object-oriented languages, there's functional languages, there's procedural languages. if it's an object-oriented language, which large variety of applications are, or at least can be applied that way, you'll be able to pick it up because we're teaching you from that perspective. It's like we're teaching you object-oriented design and development and using Java as an example. Tammy, you're programming in Python, right?
Python. And in my spare time, C#.
Look at you being a champion. Hey. How long did it take you to pick those languages up?
It was amazing how easily I picked it up, to be honest.
Right. I mean, because all the languages, I mean, to be honest with you, it's like the if you know French, I mean, you can kind of figure out English to a certain extent. I mean, because there's similarities. Like, they're not exactly the same, but trying to get to the same place. If you're trying to learn English, or all, let's say, German, to a certain extent, Latin, they all kind of the same thing. But then you got these huge jumps between, like, English and Arabic, right? That's like object-oriented to functional programming. Like, your brain's got to start to work different. And those might be a little problematic, but if it's object-oriented language, you're good to go.
I know you have things like how does someone pay for that program? Do you pay for all one time? Like,
No, not one person's paid 12 grand yet. It hasn't happened. No one's paid 12 grand. Cash. Not the person.
How does it work? You pay for it, like, as you go through it?
No, that's the apprenticeship program. If you get placed in an apprenticeship, then the most you'll ever pay is $2 grand. If you make less than $24,000 a year, you'll get a scholarship and you won't pay a dime. But with the asterisks of getting placed in an apprenticeship, because the placement in the apprenticeship will pay for the cost of your education.
Okay, so you got 12 weeks of school and you have 26 weeks of apprenticeship, right?
Yes.
And you have to apply for the apprenticeship.
Everybody, I mean, unless you decide, unless you are independently wealthy and just got 12 grand sitting in the bank, I mean, we'll take your money. Yeah, you know what, you can make that check out to Tarico. If you wanted to pay up front, that's fine. I'm sure we'd find a way to take your money. It's the problem we haven't had to go through yet. Most people only pay like $2 grand. You pay it before you get into the program. So before the day you start, pay the $2 grand. If you study your butt off, for 12 weeks and you get a job, then you're good to go. If you don't, then that's fine too. We're adamant about finding folks work. We're adamant about it. Like, if we take you into the program, we've invested in your future. It's not like we leave you on somebody's doorstep like you know the job now. So much so that even after you're in your apprenticeship or at your job, we still help. Tenny hasn't called me yet. So I love you, girl. But when you're on your job and you're finding issues like things to study or can't get up to speed, we still help you there. We mentor you through that whole process. The goal is to get the apprenticeship. The apprenticeship pays for your education. We're unlike other boot camps. We are a nonprofit. We are not in this to make money. The money that we generate only helps us provide another class. And that's why we take our placements and how many people we put into the program so seriously. 250 people. There were 25 people that we decided to make a financial investment in. We're going to help them get through, get paid, get jobs, and get out there working. And then them doing that helps us recoup the money that we invested in them so that we can go on to the next class. And that's pretty much it. That's unlike other schools. Other schools they'll take anybody because they're for profit. And they have different agendas, and this is not our agenda.
One more follow-up question that just sparked as you were talking about the process of getting into the apprenticeship and the job after that. The partner companies that you're working with, have you worked with them aside from your manager or whoever at the company? Is there anyone you guys have worked with there specifically to say hey, would you be on hand as a mentor for incoming people from the school who
Yes.
they can go to?
Not only just from the school, I mean, people who aren't even in the school are getting sent to the school to help them get up to speed. I mean, we're working with 3 students from one of our partner companies that never went to zip code, just to help them get up to speed. It's just becoming and the first thing I do is just point to a student. Hey, here's a friend, make it.
Now, you guys, actually a question. When you all spoke, we spoke about having jobs specifically. Now, the apprenticeship, they said only 2 people took the apprenticeship.
No.
Well, from the last quarter or whatever, 2 people
No.
took the apprenticeship, but everybody got a job.
No. Okay, so there's a couple different models of how you can get employed. Only 2 people took internships, and they were just for opportunity to kind of skill up. Okay, everybody else has a paid placement, whether that be an apprenticeship or a full-time job. The apprenticeship model is kind of like try before you buy for the employers, where they make a 6-month investment in you and say, hey, you know what, we're going to try this guy out or try this lady out or this person out. And, if it works out, then great. If it doesn't, well, we help them out or whatever. Johnson, as an example of somebody who they decided you're not going to give an apprenticeship, you're just going to make a job offer. There's no difference. It's just they just made her a job offer.
I'm just saying she ended up paying the 2,000 and not.
No. They made her a job offer, and then they paid for her education. It's just the difference is there's a difference between a 6-month apprenticeship and a job offer. They still pay for her education. She hasn't paid zip code a dime. We talking about that.
Alright, last question.
I thought that if they took a job, that they had to pay that $10,000.
If you take a job that's not with one of our partner companies when they come, all right, so this isn't like a internship situation, right? Because in an internship situation, they'll take anybody and you'll just sit you in a seat and whatever, right? It's kind of like a community thing. You're doing a real job interview. Based off of the assessment of the people that interview you, they're going to say, okay, we definitely want to bring this person on. The person that we bring on, we either want to have them in an apprenticeship where you work there for 6 months, but you're not on their payroll. You're contracting with them. All right. So if they need to let you go, no harm, no foul, and no one has to pay for unemployment. For some people, they decide that this person is a really, really good resource, and we're just going to straight up and down. We're going to make them a straight up and down job offer. Johnson got straight up and down job offer. Now there's other people that are just finishing their 6-month apprenticeships, right? They did not get full-time job offers. And every day we're getting phone calls saying that, you know what, we're going to hire this person full-time. The company, if you get an apprenticeship, it's an amazing thing because the company, number one, they pay for your education. They've invested in you, and they want the situation to work out. They want you to be there for a long time. It's a great thing. If you get a job offer, okay, it's not an apprenticeship, it's a straight up down job offer. That's an amazing thing too. And if it's one of our partner companies, we have agreements with them that they'll pay the same thing. It's just there's no timeline on it. Right? They're just going to put you directly on their books.
So if somebody gets an apprenticeship and they fail the apprenticeship, who pays that?
Okay, it depends. That depends on a lot of different things. If you are laid off through no fault of your own, it's in the contract, but again, anything in our contracts is not designed to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. That situation has to come up. I know it's in the contract, but we've never had to talk about it. Even the people, there are 1 or 2 people that are not going to stay on at the job that they're at because so they're moving to someplace else. But they did their 6 months. After 6 months, the commitment is there. They did it and they decide I want to transition someplace else. So just gotta make it through 6 months. You do the same. If you work as hard as you did at zip push-up, that is a no-brainer. You're good. You don't even have to work that hard. You work 2/3 less. And more shoot you. Marzook, you should work 3 times harder.
Funny story. Well, actually, I want to tell that story. I'm a week on my first week's work.
Oh no, let's tell that story. Let's tell that story. All right, so number one, Marzuka is an amazing guy. He's a hard worker, right? Like, Zoo puts in the hours. He was in the first cohort. Like, I'd show up at 6 8. I like to get once you walk in the door, it's just stuff in the question. So I like to go in early, so that I can have at least 2 hours to kind of get my head right. Marzuka figured that out, and like if I got there at 6 a.m., he was sitting outside my office at 5:45 on the beanbag, sleeping and snoring. Like, I'm gonna ask you some questions. Like, Marzuka puts in the hours, and he sits in there until you leave. And he's like, "Oh, Trick, you leaving? Okay, all right. I'm gonna finish up. I'll see you tomorrow at 5:45." Like, so this kind of, I mean, the man puts in work, right? But he gets there on the job, and you get around there, and you see all the other engineers, and Marzuka starts to feel himself a little bit. Right, like, because of the other engineers that have been there, they're senior level devs, and they've been there for 5, 6 years consulting. They have big, hefty careers, right? And Marzuka got like a month and a half, right? And I would see Marzuka at 3 o'clock in the afternoon walking down Market Street, like, hey, what's going on? What, you ain't got no job? Right, like, I mean, but he was like, nah, it's cool, everybody leaves this time. I'm like, they do? Like, all right. Like, it was like mind-boggling, but I'm like, I've worked in, like, there are jobs like that. But I've had 10 to 15 years of career. When I was doing engineering, I could leave. I'd get there at 11, leave at 3. Because you never know when you're doing work. Like, you work hard, but you don't have to work from right there. So, month and a half in, Marzuka, every time I saw Marzuka, I was like, dude, what, you ain't got no job? Like, what's going on? Like, so finally his hiring manager calls me. He was like, yo, this guy Marzuka, man, I don't know what's up with him. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, we hired him because he was a zip code student. He was supposed to put in all these hours. This guy, he takes an hour lunch. He shows up at 10 o'clock. He leaves at 3 o'clock. And then he was just like, I just don't know what's going on with this guy. I was like, okay. So I call Marzuka over. He comes in. Me and Marzuka have these special closed door sessions. Yeah. But I told Marzuka, the thing is that, like, the reason why they want to hire zip code people is because of work ethic. Like, the things that are going on in these departments, they don't want. And I had that one conversation with Marzuka. Was like, oh man, this dude's on his way out. Marzuka was like, I hear you. Next time I talk to his hiring manager, they talk about giving this man a promotion. I don't know what happened. They talk about like he's professional. He's like a natural born engineer. We want to put him on a management check. I'm like, are we talking about the same guy? Like, it was a complete 360. But the thing is, it's all perception. It wasn't that Marzuka wasn't working. It's just that sometimes people need to see you, right? And so once he knew that people need to see him, Marzuka will make sure you saw him.
Another thing that made me like is real cocky. Some people have been there like you say, 3, 4 years. Saw that code. I'm like, test that baby. Oh man, that's why people coming in like you. I'm like, hey, I'm like, I could look better than theirs in some things. So I'm like, man, I ain't got to start these guys. You know what I mean? Because like my coach was speaking for itself. So I felt I got too cocky. But after I had that talk with Troy, it really like put things in perspective because it's like these guys, they all got degrees. They've been with the company for a while. You know what I mean? They kind of like, I'm not saying that I wasn't contributing back then, but it's kind of was like they extended us out, right? Like giving us these apprenticeships that we just had to respect the job, and still there right now. Like,
not only is he still there, because of him and this other person from the first class, they came back and hired more people second time around, and they're excited about everybody that's working there. They want to come back and hire more. Like, the people that went through the program, they put in the work. Because they're putting in the work, they're making a road and they're setting a brand. And that brand is what's going to get you guys in the door once you finish your 12 weeks. Okay. You ain't that great. I've seen it go. I seen your code too. Yeah, we don't have a talk later on tonight. Tennis code is immaculate though. What's your question?
Okay, my question, because I was prepared to think that if I got accepted and everything, I was going to do this during the day and just work in that classroom. That's not really realistic. What are some suggestions that you have to just prepare for the fact that you're going to do this all day and not wait for them.
Yeah, so what I suggest is, are you working now? Right? Okay, this is for the cohort in September.
Yep.
Save money. Start saving whatever you don't need to spend on bills, save it because you're going to need it. I'm not gonna lie, like not having a job for 3 months was rough. Like scraping pennies, like rough. There's just no way to get around it. Like if you have a support system, like you can go and live with somebody else, like rent free for free. I'm being dead serious. Like if you can live rent free for like 3 months, do it. Even if that means moving home with your parents, do it. Because I mean, it's not. I mean, when you think about it, like 3 months not paying rent, but you just have that extra money to actually, like, I don't know, be able to eat food. So you don't have to, like, so you don't have to figure out, do I want to take the bus to zip code today or do I want to eat? You know what I mean? So, like, those are some real questions that I had to ask myself sometimes.
I have those questions, like,
you don't want that.
you're not going to focus on your code.
Yeah, you need food in order for fuel to get through the code. So, yeah. So, save your money now. Whatever cost that you can cut down on now, do it. There's no, like, simple, easy answer for that. Just save your money and start figuring out now, like, where you're going to live. Because I think that's the biggest cost for it is housing and then transportation. So.
Alright, so our supporters will stick around for a little bit, so I'm going to help them individually and cut them up. I don't know if there's any full people left. We can have it if there is. Otherwise, yep, I'll be here. So otherwise, yeah, thanks so much for coming out.
What are you talking about? They're clapping for me.
Oh, you're still there? All right. Last
Yeah.
I'm about to stop it.
All right then, thanks. I wanted to ask you a couple questions afterwards. Maybe later on this evening.
All right. Hold on.
Is that okay?
What's up?
I said,
All right.
I can call you later on this evening.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the connection's kind of bad, but I stuck it out.
All right. Well,
All right, thank you. All right then. Bye.